Hello guys, this is Mirthy. Today we're going to be talking about the research that you should do prior to speaking with a recruiter if you want to join a military branch. Um, just a little background on me. I am enlisted in the Army. I have not shipped out yet to basic training. Um, and just for anyone who's making military videos online, do not put your ship date on the web. For security reasons. It's just safer that less people know when there's shipments of soldiers going to a certain location. Um, I'm enlisted as an MP or military police officer. Um, but anyways, let's just jump in. Um, the first thing you want to do before you go speak to a recruiter is either go in and pick up a pamphlet that has the job lists or go online and look at every job that the military offers. Pretty much you can do any job you can have in the civilian world other than rock star or something like that. Um, but there are musicians. If you already know how to play music, there are ways you can speak to the recruiter and see how to get an invitation to become special band, but you pretty much have to be like an awesome musician prior to going in. So look at every job. Make a list of every job. Look at what they are, which ones you might be interested in. Look at what the description, the job description of them are. Go on YouTube and look at, just type in the MOS code. It's going to be 2 numbers and a letter. Mine is 31 Bravo, 31B. So just go on there, look at forums. I went into 31 Bravo, just Google it, and you can see people talking about the day-to-day life of it, or where you might be stationed, or how the training is, everything like that. You can find a lot on the internet to learn about the job that you're potentially signing up for the next 3 to 8 years. The next thing is you can go on the military website and look up what scores you need to get those jobs. So write down all the jobs that you like the sound of, like the jobs that you might be interested in. Write down all the scores that you would need to pass to get that job, to be able to pick that job. The next thing is take a practice ASFAB test, ASFAB. That you can probably find one online. Otherwise, just go into the recruiting office and say you'd like to take a practice exam to see what your score would be. And at that point, you already know you can bring your list with you and write down your score. Until you go to MEPS, which is the base where you take your entrance exams and all that kind of stuff, medical testing, background checks. Once you go there, you'll take the ASVAB test, and it will break down into like 6 categories, which those are the numbers I think that online, like, it'll give you the breakdown of those numbers that you need to pass for each individual one to get the job you want. So check the forums out. So once you see that, you'll see here's all the jobs you picked out. Here's all the scores that you needed. These are the scores that you got. Now, at that point, you can either study and retake the exam if you didn't make it for the job that you wanted, or you just cross off the ones that you didn't make, and then you're left with jobs that you qualify for. Now, the only thing left that you have to qualify to get those jobs to make sure are you pass your background check, your medical screening that you'll do at MEPS as well. And then, of course, your strength, which pretty much it's not a big thing when picking jobs, unless you're going to do something super intense like special forces or something like that. You probably want to be a little bit more of an active person for thinking about doing that. The next thing is to study for your test if you're going to retake it. And then you got to decide on your job. Now, don't rush this. Stick to your choices. Pick 5 of them and tell your recruiter, these are the jobs I want. I'd be happy with any one of these. I'd be happy to enlist a week ago if I could, but only for one of these jobs. I really want these jobs, and I know I'm qualified for it. Um, but if you can make that happen, that's awesome. If not, then I guess I'll just have to sit and wait, until a slot opens up. If that's what I gotta do, then that's what I gotta do. And when you say that, they're gonna go out of their way, make phone calls to get you a spot, okay? Because the first thing they're gonna do is they're not trying to lie to you or trick you or anything like that, but they do have quotas, and they gotta sign up a certain amount of people in a month or whatever it is. So if they're already full up on a certain job, like for me, MPs were full. So the first thing they do is show you all the available job slots that are open that you qualify for. So it's like you can be a mechanic here, you can food specialist, HVAC, you can do all kinds of things. They're not necessarily what you want, and some of them, because they're rarely picked, have big bonuses on them. Be careful with these bonuses, okay? It might sound good if you get a $40,000 bonus on top of your job, but you got to do that job for 5 years, 6 years, whatever your contract is. Some of them, you have to work a certain amount of years to get that contract. And that bonus, you don't get it all at once. You get it divided up over the next couple years of your service. And sometimes you got to be careful. Check your contract. You're going to have to sign that thing multiple times before you actually ship. And if it doesn't say that bonus on every single one, then it's a no-go. You got to double check that stuff. Like you're buying a car, you read that whole paper that no one wants to read through. The terms and acknowledgments when you sign up for anything, you got to read that. This is your contract. You're signing your life away. It's super important. I know you're 16, 17, 18, whatever, unless you're an older person, but if you're coming right out of high school, bring your parents, because there's certain things you can't bring them all the time, especially to MEPS and things like that, but you just got to make sure you're taking care of yourself. For me, I didn't get a bonus with mine. Why? Because they made some phone calls for me, snuck me in as an MP. There's always spots open. They just don't want to put more people in there if they don't have to. They want to fill the jobs that are necessary for them. But so my bonus was getting the job that I wanted. So yeah, just tell them like, hey, I'll wait for a job slot to open up, and you'll see they'll come around real quick to get you in. Especially, I'll let you know, my scores on my ASVAB score, I got an 89, and it's a percentile test, so it's out of you can get up to like 100 or 99 or whatever. And then for my individual ones, they were all around like 120, 125. The highest score for each of the 6 categories is like 135. So I could pretty much pick any job in the military that I wanted. The only thing is they try to zero you in, squeeze you into something that they need. But when you got the upper hand, you can be, hey, I'm highly qualified, and this is what I want. If you can make that work for me, then I would love to join the military. And then you own me for the next couple years. For me, it's a 5-year contract plus basic training in AIT. So other than that, just stay steady with what you want to do. This is your life. This is what you're going to be doing until you're out of the military. The other thing is, it's not forever. After your first enlistment, there's something called ETS, is the process of you leaving the military. Now, at that time, you can choose to just let it happen and be done with your service, or you can re-enlist. And you can go into the same MOS, or you can switch MOS fields. It doesn't matter. Um, the only other thing I got to mention is for your contract, just so you know, it's 8 years. No matter what the number of years you pick, you're serving an 8-year contract. For me, it says 5 years, which means 5 years active duty. 6, 7, and 8 are non-active reservist. So, which means if we went into some crazy super war and all the active duty people are out, then they called all the reserves into active duty. They're out. They need more people. They're going to call back people who are inactive reserves, and they're going to be back on the battlefield. And at that point, if it was like super, a 50-year long war or something, then they start a draft again. But because we have so many levels of the government, military personnel, I don't think that'll ever happen. But that's just so you know, even if you sign up for a 3-year contract, you're locked in for 8. But after those 3, you're out doing whatever you want to do. And you're a just in case kind of thing. But that's all I really wanted to talk about today. Let me know if that was helpful. Leave comments down below if you have any extra questions. Other than that, I'm Mirthy. Like, subscribe, whatever, and I'll see you guys in the next video, which is probably going to be about when you go to MEPS and how it should, how you should present yourself and things like that. Have a good one.